Number 1, change one small thing at a time. For the past year, if I had to upload a video by a certain time, whether it be self-imposed deadlines or ones from brands, I'd work well into the night, like 2, 3, 4 a.m. Tonight, however, I'm gonna change one thing, which is to choose sleep over work and power down at a reasonable hour. As the saying goes, mornings really do start the night before, so if I want to ensure I'm up by a desirable and desired time in the mornings, I have to make some compromises at night. So close the laptop, step away from work, stop checking emails, and put away the phone. Number 2, that thing you do every day, do it a little differently, a little more mindfully. Be present when you're doing the things, all the things, the little things, the big things. So here, engaging in my skincare routine, I just want to make sure this is all I'm thinking about. If I'm wiping my face with beauty water, I just want to wipe my face with beauty water. When I'm applying toner, serums, moisturizers, that's all I want to be focusing on. And continuing on to our day, let's use brushing my teeth as an example. This is something I do every day, twice a day, when I'm busy or stressed and I can't sit still for even 10 seconds because I feel like I should constantly be doing something. I force myself to take at least 2 minutes to ground myself by really focusing on what I'm doing. Earth to Rowena, hellos. Yes. Brushing my teeth, that fresh explosion of mint to wake me up in the mornings, the gentle soft vibrations and the pulses to remind me that I need to switch to a different quadrant every 30 seconds. For most humans, which is most of us, our brains generally need downtime to remain creative, and we can find this downtime throughout our day, even if it's just 2 minutes, because 2 minutes 2 times a day is 4 minutes, and 4 minutes per day for a week is 28 minutes. 28 minutes per week for a month is 112 12 minutes, which is almost a solid 2 hours. That's a lot of time that we can spend on ourselves. Like, they really compound and they really add up. So I'll stop being mom here, but just want to reiterate that self-care encompasses so many day-to-day things that we tend to overlook, like oral care, which is why I'm super grateful that brands like Quip decided to innovate electronic toothbrushes, of all things. It's these little tweaks and enhancements that we add into our lives that turn out to be the big things in the long run, like our teeth not falling out by the time we're 80 because we didn't take the time in our youth to take care of them. Anyway, if you're not familiar with Quip, they're an oral care company focused on helping you brush better. They also offer a subscription service for brush heads and toothpaste refills, because did you know toothbrushes should be changed every 3 months? I definitely did not know this before I started using Quip almost a year ago. So if you're in the market for a new toothbrush, Quip is the way to go, my friends. Check out the link in my description box and you can get a $10 refill credit. Moving on. Number 3, cruise in diffuse mode more often. Our brain operates in 2 modes, focus mode and diffuse mode. Focus mode is when we are learning something new, engaging in creative work, or doing some specific task when we're fully concentrated. We shift gears into diffuse mode when we are relaxed and daydreaming. So depending on what mode we're in, different parts of our brains are activated. Studies have shown that activity in many regions of our brain increases when we allow our minds to wander. This is why sometimes we get those epic aha moments while we're washing our dishes or showering, doing skincare, brushing our teeth. Psychologist Scott Barry Kaufman said that mind wandering serves multiple adaptive functions such as future planning, sorting out current concerns, cycling through different information streams, distributed learning versus cramming, and creativity. So for overachievers who want to be on all the time and be productive all the time, doing something all the time because there's no time to waste, a growing body of evidence has actually shown that taking regular breaks from mental tasks actually improve creativity and output. So, you know, skipping breaks, skipping these diffuse modes can lead to more stress, exhaustion, and creative block, which is, I'm sure, most of us have experienced. All this to say, when we're too focused for too long, we're actually blocking ourselves off completely from diffuse mode. So despite how some of us may feel about how idleness is a waste of time, or that we should not be idle because we should constantly be moving forward, it's actually a very important thing for us to make unexpected connections in the brain and help us become more creative when we are idle and when we are daydreaming and when we're not in focus mode. And this goes back to what my dad tells me all the time, to fa-dai, or empty the brain for at least 5 minutes every day. Thanks, Dad. Hi, Dad. I miss you. All right. So, of course, morning meditation is great, or when you make a morning tea or coffee while you're sitting on your cloud of a couch looking at the clouds outside the window. Times like these are great for reflection, to think back on how you've been spending your time, see what's been working, see what's not been working, see what you like to add to your routine, and see what you like to subtract from your routine, because we really need to know where we currently are and what our current routine is like before we can spice things up and move forward, right? Before you know where to go, you need to know where you've been. All right, moving on. Lighten the dialogue in your head. In the mornings and just my life in general, I'm almost always running 5 minutes late. I don't like it. I'm not proud of it, but it's been my reality for as long as I can remember. And because I am very aware of this, and I'm honestly not a big fan of myself for being perpetually in a rush and late, I'm not the nicest to myself when I'm running late. I don't talk to myself that nicely. So what I've learned over the years is that how we talk to ourselves actually plays a huge role in how we interact with the world around us. You know that saying, you are the company you keep. If you hang out with successful, ambitious, self-driven individuals, you're bound to be more successful, ambitious, and self-driven. And I believe that the dialogue in our heads work exactly the same way. If we constantly indulge in negative self-talk, we're bound to be more negative overall. But if we're able to lighten the dialogue in our heads, learn to accept and forgive ourselves a little more, and think more positive rather than not so positive thoughts, this is where the magic happens. And according to physicians and psychiatrists, when you're experiencing a lot of internal tension and anxiety, you can reduce your stress by up to 50% by simply noticing and naming your state. Like, I'm angry at myself because I'm late again. Okay, what can I do in the future to prevent myself from being late so that I'm not stuck in this state of anger? And this ability to stand outside of your experiences will help you free yourself from the automatic flow of experience, just basically autopilot. So with this self-awareness, we'll be able to choose what direction we want to go and redirect our attention to what's more important, or to things that we can change instead of things that we can't change. If we're late, we're late. Like, can't change that. We can change how you prepare in the future. So out the door we go. And while I walk to work, I'm listening to this brings us to the last point. Make use of found time. Pockets of downtime you have throughout your day. Between meetings or classes, those 10 to 15 minutes before, after lunch, time spent on your commutes. What is our default when we come across these pockets of found time? Are we scrolling our phones? Are we making a call to our parents? Or are we writing an email of appreciation or sending a text of appreciation? When we're traveling from point A to point B, driving, subwaying, walking, flying by plane, we're washing the dishes, doing our hair, putting on our face, doing chores, cleaning our rooms, cooking, these could all be turned into found time. I like to spend the time I'm physically doing something that doesn't require much mental focus to listen to things like podcasts, audiobooks, or the 9-day audio lectures for my spiritual practice, Falun Dafa. It's basically a crash course on what the practice is. It pulls from Buddhism, modern scientific principles to explain Qigong, meditation, why it's beneficial, why it works, and how it can help you improve your physical state and your mental state and just your overall existence. And yeah, it's a beautiful day out in New York City, walking to work, got to work a little late today because I had to film this video, but I made it. In an ideal morning, of course I will be on time, and being on time means I'm 5 to 10 minutes earlier, not 5 to 10 minutes late. But life is a work in process, and I'm a work in progress, and so are all of us, so it's okay. Tomorrow's a brand new day. We have a lot of time in the future to continue improving on ourselves, as long as we're actively taking strides and taking the steps in the right direction to make sure we are being the people, the person we want to be, and that we'll be proud of when we're looking back 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, and for our kids to look up to, for our grandkids to look up to. I'm getting really deep with this. Anyway, yes, just give yourself some credit, give yourselves a pat on the back, make more time for diffused mode. And I hope you guys spent this weekend existing more in diffuse mode than in focus mode, because we need our breaks to function as productive human beings. And with that, here is the biggest voice hug. That wasn't the biggest, that was just really high pitched in a singing voice. But anyway, voice hug. Love y'all. Take care. Bye.